Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching the Today I Found Out YouTube channel, and in the video today, we're looking at the fascinating story of the artist who won a surprising amount of praise from critics. Let's get started.
The Monkey Artist. In 1964, a new avant-garde artist was introduced to the art scene in the Swedish city of Gōteborg. The fresh new artist was Pierre Brassau, and his work received rave reviews from critics and art fans alike. Brassau featured 4 paintings in the 1964 edition at Gallery Christine, and even sold one masterpiece to a collector named Bertil Eklot for $90, about $650 today. The exhibition featured paintings from artists across Europe, but it was the hot new French artist who stole the show. One critic in particular, Rolf Anderberg, was so overwhelmed by Pierre's talent that he wrote the following review about his work, which appeared in print the morning following the exhibition.
Brassau paints with powerful strokes, but also with clear determination. His brush strokes twist with furious fastidiousness. Pierre is an artist who performs with the delicacy of a ballet dancer.
The reviews were glowing. All but one. One critic's review was short and to the point.
Only an ape could have done this.
The opinion was unpopular among the other critics, despite the pieces of art looking strikingly similar to art you commonly see stuck to refrigerators produced by 2-year-olds the world over. It turns out, though, that the ape review more or less hit the nail on the head. Pierre Brassau was actually none other than a young West African chimpanzee named Peter who lived in the Borås Djurpark Zoo in Sweden. The mastermind behind the hoax was journalist Dake Axelsson. Axelsson worked for the Swedish tabloid Göteborg Tidningen and came up with the idea of featuring the primate paintings in an exhibition in order to put the critics to the test. Could they recognize the work of true avant-garde modern artists? Axelsson convinced Peter's teenage caretaker to let the chimpanzee play with some oil paints and a brush. Initially, Peter ate more paint than he managed to get onto the canvases. His favorite flavor was cobalt blue, a color which featured prominently in his later work. With some encouragement, Peter soon began to develop his artistic skills. Once he finished showing off his artistic talents, producing several paintings, Axelsson chose the 4 which he considered the most worthy to be displayed and set about getting them included in the exhibition at the Gallery Christine. Once the hoax was revealed, the critic who had previously compared Pierre Brassau with a ballet dancer, Rolf Anderberg, doggedly stuck by his assessment and stated that Pierre's work
Was still the best in the exhibition.
Peter isn't the only primate to have found success as an artist. In 2005, the director of the State Art Museum of Maritzburg in Saxony-Anhalt, Dr. Kajta Schneider, mistakenly identified a painting as the work of Ernst William Ney, a Guggenheim Prize-winning artist. In fact, the painting was done by Banghi, who was a chimpanzee living at Hull Zoo. In 2010, Jimmy, a 27-year-old chimpanzee living in Rio de Janeiro, earned national acclaim for his artistic talents. When Jimmy's caretakers realized that he'd become depressed, they decided to give him some paints to brighten up his days. Jimmy showed an instant aptitude for art and has since become a household name across Brazil. He even has an art instructor who visits him 3 times a week. In 2009, 3 paintings by Congo the chimpanzee sold at auction for more than $25,000. Congo was born in 1954 and produced around 400 paintings during his life. He died at the age of 10 of tuberculosis. Pablo Picasso is reported to have been a fan of Congo's work and in fact owned one of Congo's paintings, which hung on his studio wall. Bonus facts. Pablo Picasso's real name was a tad longer than you might expect. Specifically, it was Pablo Diego Jose Francisco de Paula Juan Nepomuceno Maria de la Remedio Cipriano de la Santissima Trinidad Reyes y Picasso. Bonus fact 2. The most expensive piece of art sold to date is one of the versions of The Card Players by Paul Cézanne, which sold for somewhere between $250 and $320 million to the royal family of Qatar, who apparently have too much money on their hands. Qatar is on the Arabian Peninsula and has a population of just 2 million people and only about 250,000 citizens, yet a gross domestic product of about $182 billion, giving it the highest per capita gross domestic product of any country in the world. If you guessed that their little country has a lot of oil, you'd be right. They also have rich supplies of natural gas. Not only is it one of the wealthiest countries in the world per capita, but it also has one of the lowest tax rates, including having no income tax. So I really hope you liked that video, and if you did like it, click like below and leave us a comment to let us know what you think. And also check out a couple of our other videos, which are linked to on the screen now, and don't forget to subscribe for brand new videos every day. Thanks for watching.